we have a very special guest in the studio. This is Caitlin. A round of applause. Caitlin is 16. Caitlin goes to Harrogate High School, where what time does maths start?
8:30 in the morning.
Oh, right, okay, so you want me, I'll spin this out for as long as I possibly can then. Maths on a Monday morning?
Yeah.
Okay, so Caitlin goes to Harrogate High School, but she's here to talk about something that happened to her. Well, you first found out you were poorly about 4 years ago, so tell us what happened.
So I just started at Harrogate High, and I kept feeling a bit unwell. So I got dizzy quite a lot, and because I was dancing 4 days a week, well, more than that, for quite a few hours a night, I was starting to feel dizzy and started to have blackouts. So on the Saturday, which was my birthday, we went to Studley Royal, and I was walking up a hill, and my sight went blank, and I was crying at the top of the hill. So my stepdad basically said to my mum that I need to go to the doctors because there's something not right. So my mum took me to the doctors. They said just not to do any exercise, and that was it. But it carried on. It didn't get any better. So on the Monday, my mum took me to the doctors again. They said, well, we'll do a blood test here and we'll tell the hospital that we've done it. So they did a blood test and they said it should be back tomorrow. So they rang my mum up at work on the Tuesday and said, we've got Caitlin's blood test back and it's bad news. My mum said, oh, okay, has she got diabetes or something? And they said, no, she's got leukemia and you need to take her to Leeds straight away because they're expecting her. So that was basically my diagnosis.
And what did you know at that point in your life? What did you know about leukemia at that point?
Well, I didn't really know what leukemia was, but because my mum had said cancer, I knew what cancer was. Because in year 5, I think, at school, we read a book about a child who had it. So for me then, it was quite scary, but because I'm quite guarded, I never really let off any emotions like that. So I kind of be strong for my family and don't show anything. So I was quite scared, but I didn't really want to panic my mum.
Okay, so take us through. There was then 2 years in and out of LGI.
Yeah.
And the most horrible treatments and things to make you better.
Yeah, so I had, for the first 6 months, it was intensive. So I was in hospital at first for 4 or 5 weeks, and that was constant chemo going through a line that I had, so not a portacath, which is what I had later, but a cannula. So I had quite a few of them during the 4 weeks, and then after I came out of hospital, I'd lost all my strength because I didn't feel like getting up when I was in hospital. So I was in a wheelchair, but then I was still having chemo every single day. So for the whole 2.5 years that I was actually on treatment, it was chemo every single day, as well as every month I'd go to the hospital and have intravenous chemotherapy. And then I had scans and different things as well that they had to keep on top of to make sure nothing else was going wrong. But I had a community nurse come into my house to do chemo through my portacath, which is basically a little titanium disc underneath your skin. And it's a line that goes through your body that connects to your heart and goes into your neck. And you have to access it with a needle. So that goes in, and then they can do chemotherapy through that.
And you're talking about it quite matter-of-factly. It's really tough, isn't it? For anybody listening who's got no idea. There'll be people listening who've had family go through chemotherapy before, but it is awful, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, for me, for a teenager, it was quite hard because my whole appearance changed. So as a teenager, you feel like everything relies on your appearance. So your hair, how you do your hair in the morning, how you do your makeup. But because you lose your eyelashes, you lose your eyebrows, and you lose all your hair, you feel like your identity's gone. So when you go back to school, you feel like you haven't got anything to actually shield you from everybody else. But I think for some of the younger ones, you have babies and on the ward that don't have a clue what's going on, and they just know that they're getting prodded with a needle every 2 minutes because they need it to actually save their life. And it's quite straightforward how I'm saying it, but I think I can say it because I've been in this situation, so I don't really have any ties to it.
We wanted Caitlin this morning to tell us, it's 2 years ago, or coming up to 2 years ago, since Caitlin's treatment finished. And the reason for inviting Caitlin in at this time, on this day, is to talk about the support which you received then and still receive ongoing from Candlelighters, who we're supporting with our giving tree. So in just a second, I'm going to tell you how you can be part of this. But just tell us what Candlelighters have done for you.
Well, all the way through my treatment, sometimes I was on the ward, sometimes I wasn't. So when I was on the ward, they used to come into my room and ask if I wanted to do anything. They'd always give me something to do if I was bored. And because the amount of time you spend with them, they kind of get to know you on a personal level and like a medical level. So they know everything about you, basically. So they knew what I liked and what I wanted to do if I was bored. So if they came into my room and went, "We can tell you're bored," they'd just come and bring me something that they know I'd do. But I think the best thing is that they support the families as well. So the whole time that I was on the ward and in hospital, my mum could easily just go and speak to them about things, and so could my family. Like